Well, I don't know. We'd have to sit down with Liz and find out how they've done it. But I don't know. Bring her in. I'd rather, you know, I don't want to snow balls.
I'll call. Find out.
I appreciate it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the only really restriction.
It's an age thing.
No.
Third. Can't be more than a third.
The biggest thing was,
So,
but heading in, that's a citizen.
We're saying that you have a copy of this, right? Red ribbon.
Yeah.
Say, if parents did this and children did this, he would be out of what.
Yeah.
We could put a part-time, pay off our deficit.
Either way, you can keep them.
That's not going to happen. So,
Yeah, it's just.
There is.
I'll just fix them.
Render it. That determination cease to exist unless it was extended by the. Well, that's what.
Well, Marquetta was supposed to be here with some students.
yes, she is. Mark Weather had all of his payees, his employees.
So who's, am I reading the proclamation or who's reading it?
You're reading the proclamation, and I'll go down. You tell me to stand with another.
Yeah, too, or just maybe you two, give her the time.
I'm sorry.
So it may just be you two, give her the time.
I know that's what it seems like, does.
Well, I'm told.
Yep. Yep.
He tries to run a strict ship, but both of them. They wanna do.
Right on.
They got that shit. They'll say, I was, but not I was there.
You know, you guys, we can pull up another chair or two. You can just sit up here on the stage. If you're gonna get called to speak.
I need the
If you fall over backwards.
I want some time off.
Right about budget time, right?
That. He didn't even come into the courtroom, so we didn't think he was there. So we did the scheduling conference and the motion. That comes over. It's bad. I mean, he was gonna lose our.
Oh,
Yeah, well, yeah.
if you want me to read that, I'll do it like Elmer Fudd, when we've been,
No.
Next time.
we do that anyway. That's our constant problem. We say, when we've been.
All right, folks, I'm gonna go ahead and call our meeting to order. It is 7:01 PM. If we can start with a moment of silence, please. We can stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. City Attorney Domingo, if you'll take roll call for us, please.
Present.
Reed, yes. Stewart.
Here.
Ross.
Here.
Davis.
Here.
Brown.
Here.
And Mayor Snyder.
Here. Do I have a motion to approve of the agenda?
So moved.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, this evening, we will start off with a proclamation. I do believe Miss Marquetta Frost is here with some students. If y'all want to come forward. Come on to the podium. So I will go ahead and read the proclamation first, and then Marquetta, you and your group, if you have words to say, I will turn the floor over to you, okay? So proclamation honoring 2025 Red Ribbon Week. Whereas Red Ribbon Week is an alcohol, tobacco, smoking, and other drug and violence prevention awareness campaign scheduled for October 23rd through the 31st, 2025. It is the nation's most significant and longest-running drug awareness and prevention program. Whereas Red Ribbon Week serves as a catalyst to mobilize communities to educate youth and promote involvement in drug prevention activities. The 2025 theme, Life is a Puzzle, Solve It Drug-Free, symbolizes that each choice is a piece of a bigger puzzle, and living drug-free is a way to solve it positively. Whereas we celebrate Red Ribbon Week to honor the sacrifices of brave individuals like Kiki Camarena, a special agent who was assigned to the Guadalajara, Mexico office and played a key role in dismantling the drug pipeline of notorious traffickers. After his death on February 7th, 1985, Congressman Duncan Hunter organized Red Ribbon Week. People, especially children, wear red ribbons and pledge to live drug-free lives. Nancy Reagan brought national attention to the program, and it is celebrated across the country. And whereas a pledge for children, I pledge to stay in school and learn the things that I need to know. I pledge to make the world a better place for kids like me to grow. I pledge to keep my dreams alive and be all that I can be. I pledge to help others and to keep myself drug-free. And whereas a parent's pledge, we will talk with our children about the dangers of drug abuse. We will set clear rules for our children about not using drugs. We will serve as good role models by not using illegal drugs or misusing prescription drugs. We will monitor our children's behavior and apply appropriate consequences to ensure our rules are respected. We will encourage family and friends to follow the same guidelines to keep their children safe from drug abuse. And I pledge to establish guidelines that help children grow up safe, healthy, and drug-free. Now therefore be it resolved, I, Victoria Garcia Snyder, Mayor, on behalf of the Albion City Council, do proclaim October 21st through the 31st, 2025 as Red Ribbon Week and urge all Albion citizens to commit a living a drug-free life. And then the floor is yours.
Well, we'll take a photo out. First one, the council and the Albion community and Albion public safety for recognizing Red Ribbon Week. We have done this, in Albany for 2 years, and it was a while before we had, done it before. But these young people have volunteered to not only recognize their elderly, they're gonna be mentors for the littles at Harrington after Christmas break. So they're gonna give them their time to help spread the word, to be drug-free and bully-free all year. So this is a wonderful occasion that the company recognizes what we do. Now let them introduce themselves and embrace. I'm Anastasia, I'm Hi, I'm Bianca Jennings, and I'm from Huddersfield. Hi, I'm Anaya, and I'm in my
I'm Adam Weimer and I have graduated.
Yeah. Okay, I'm taking it here, we get involved, so it's a positive impact. So we wanna ask Ms. Davis to take a picture with us, just real quick, basics.
And
The shoes, yeah. I was looking for you, Marshall, that was hard. There, the camera's on. Okay, so go ahead and get, kind of, find the bandit. Chief, you on the
Yep,
phone?
I can go down there.
It's a little Quaker meeting stuff, guys. Girls on one side, boys on the other. Quaker.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right, next I will go ahead and open our public meeting. I'm sorry, public hearing for the approval of the commercial facilities exemption at 205 West Cass. It is 7:09. Do we have any public comments?
Joe Rebecca, 1217 East Border Street. I was a band director, this is really comfortable here. It's like, okay. I just came to briefly, express my support for the brownfield. Stephanie's put a tremendous amount of work into this. This is not a project that's taken lightly. It's a huge investment and, I think in the grand scheme of everything, the brownfield plays an important yet somewhat small role. And I think just overall, as a fellow business owner, it's very nice to see and supportive to see the city council put some dollars forward into a project, no matter how big or small. It's sort of, it validates the project, it gives weight to the project, it sort of underscores the importance of the project. And so I just wanted to ask for your support in this bill. Thank you.
Good evening. Oh, this one.
Yeah, just, especially.
Good evening. There we go. Good evening, my name is Stephanie Dobbins, and I'm here regarding the redevelopment of 205 West Cat Street. I put a lot of heart into this project, and I really appreciate your consideration this evening and the brownfield application. I'm happy to answer any questions, but just to give you a brief summary. A number of years ago, probably 5 years ago, I was on a vacation, I went to the laundromat, and I was like, wow, this place is awesome. I would love to have a place like this in Albion. So it's been rolling around in my head for quite a while, and this building sort of spoke to us. And it's been a fun project to bring to life. So I think you have the drawings that we worked on with the distributor. So you can see sort of where we're at this point. The goal is to build out a modern, safe place for people to do laundry with dignity. And I would appreciate your support behind this because it's a heavy investment, and this would certainly be impactful as we move forward. I'm happy to answer any questions, although I'm not sure this is the time to do that. No, okay, so thank you very much.
Seeing no other movement, I will go ahead and close our public hearing at 7:14 p.m. Do I have a motion to approve resolution 2025-17?
So moved.
Support.
Attorney Harkness.
So as we discussed during the work session, the council previously, excuse me, I'm losing my voice a little bit, I'm battling a head cold. Approved a commercial redevelopment district that we labeled redevelopment district number 1 back in July. That establishment of that district allowed the applicant to come forward and apply for a commercial facilities exemption certificate, which is what the resolution before you tonight is for. It is for a duration of 12 years. Kind of the simplest way to explain it is it's basically freezes the taxes where they are for the duration of the certificate, and then at the expiration of the certificate, the building is taxed with its improvements and rehabilitation. The exemption certificate does not apply to the land. The land will continue to be taxed as it is currently taxed. But the application is before you. The application indicates that there's approximately $750,000 investment. The rehabilitation is projected by the applicant to be completed in March of 2026. So the idea behind the certificate is because the applicant is making a large investment to rehabilitate the property. In exchange, the city effectively exempts them from the taxes that would accompany those improvements for the 12-year period. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Attorney Harkness? All right. City Clerk Domingo?
Councilmember Williams,
Yes.
Reed. Yes. Stewart,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Brent,
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Public comment. If there's anybody in the gallery that would like to stand and address council in regards to an agenda item, you may do so at this time. Seeing no movement, we will continue. Consent calendar items. In your packet, you have the minutes of our October 6th council meeting. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Do I have a motion to approve resolution 2025-16? The exemption for the city of Albion for the health insurance contributions.
So moved.
Support.
Attorney Harkness?
I'm glad I came tonight. So this is the resolution that we do every year, the Michigan Publicly Funded Health Insurance Contribution Act, which was enacted in, I believe, 2012. Basically, we have to either follow the state of Michigan's requirements or opt ourselves out. And the state of Michigan requires that the employer pay for at least 80% of the employee health insurance costs, with the employee paying the remaining 20%. The city of Albion actually provides its employees with a better plan whereby we pay 90% and the employees only pay 10%. So because we are providing that better plan, we are required to opt out of the act for the 2026 year. So this is the exact same resolution that we vote on every year. The only changes that's been made is that it's for the 2026 year, and I have updated the amounts that are published by the Department of Treasury annually in the resolution. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? City Clerk Domingo?
Councilmember Reed. Yes. Stewart.
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
French.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
And Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Do I have a motion to approve resolution 2025-18 for the city's multiple year deficit elimination plan?
So move.
Four.
Director Clark or City Manager?
He's got to get his exercise. Yeah, I saw that. I offered him a seat. He said he needed the exercise.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. So this is, this resolution requires, there's a little letter I got from the state of Michigan. Reflecting a unrestricted deficit and a fund balance in our internal service fund, which is our equipment fund. Again, the equipment fund is used to purchase equipment, maintain it. Also, there's a building out there that they maintain and lease to other funds. The other funds will also, the fund will also collect rent for usage of the equipment that benefits the other funds. So in 2024, on the audit report, there was a unrestricted deficit inside the fund balance, which was basically caused by the equipment fund having to borrow $600,000 from the other funds to purchase roughly $1.2 million in capital expenditures. The state requires that we submit a deficit elimination plan. I did call the state and discuss this with the gentleman that sent me the initial letter. It's very nice. We had a great conversation, and he suggested that I develop a plan, send it to him, and have him approve it eventually, and then have the council approve it through a resolution. I did complete the plan, and that is included on the resolution. It does show that we can eliminate the deficit over 3 years. They do give you at least 5 years to do that. I was able to come up with a plan that would eliminate it in 3. And so basically the plan needs to be approved by the council and then submitted to the state.
Any questions for Director Clark? Anything to add, City Manager?
No, this is a common occurrence among municipalities. David has come up with a wonderful plan to eliminate it. I want to reassure our public and city council that David does a good job keeping track of all of our expenses, that we are not a deficit spending community, that we do follow the rules. It's just one of those adherences that we have to abide by. So council should feel comfortable with what Finance Director Clark has formulated.
Any other questions or comments? City Clerk Domingo?
Councilmember Stewart.
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
French.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Reed. Yes. Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Do I have a motion to approve of the Fourth Amendment of the agreement between the City of Albion and Safebuilt?
Support. Permission to approach the podium.
Perfect.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of council. In your agenda packets this evening is a proposed agreement prepared by Safeville at the city administration's request. So I need to explain some things. Right now, we have a contract to provide for inspection services and some code enforcement on the part of Safeville. Right now, our current contract for 2025 is we've currently spent $247,191. This is for the inspection and also for the code enforcement services. That was as of today. In 24, we paid $225,000 for those same services. So looking at Elizabeth's office of code enforcement, also with some unmet challenges of inspection. One of the things that Safeville and the administration have come up with is maybe some more office time within City Hall. We'd like to be more of our citizens' needs at the same time. While Elizabeth is doing a wonderful job keeping even with code enforcement, we're still not able to keep up. So what we had decided on is to bring the city council for your consideration the opportunity maybe to have enhanced services with Safeville. Now, I want to show you a difference. And that difference is that if we had a staff where we had to have 4 inspectors, 1 for mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and then for building, that's 4 bodies. That doesn't even include code enforcement. So we're probably talking somewhere at least $300,000 for that. So you add in code enforcement, that's another $100,000, let's say, to administer that component. So what we did was we approached Safeville from the standpoint of taking a look at, should we enhance the services for our citizens and also to keep up with the code enforcement. So what this is at $90,000 or for $90 an hour and adding 20 hours a week inside City Hall brings it up to approximately $90,000. So if we were to add that figure along with where we're currently at, we would have a figure of $337,000 for code enforcement and also for inspection services. Again, one of the chores that I have that I share with Elizabeth is dealing with code enforcement issues. Obviously, some people don't like government telling them what they can do with their property, but nonetheless, our citizens have spoken through you that through ordinances, there's an expectation that neighbors keep up their properties. And so what we're trying to do here is put Albion in a place where it becomes manageable, where we don't have abandoned homes that are falling down and just to the point of where it is blight. What we want to do is try to get a handle on it. This is what has the administration was compelled to do, is to bring it to council. I welcome any questions or comments, and I would hope that you would challenge me on justifying why we would do this.
Councilman Frost.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, City Manager. We already have a contract with Safeville, and some of these items seem like they should be included in that contract already. What what is this different than what we have now?
This would give us greater code enforcement assistance. We have Elizabeth who does a wonderful job, but she is behind in the amount of copies. She is a one-person office, and it is very difficult for her to keep up. As Aaron or Chief Phipps will tell you that it is very difficult after a fire sometimes to get the property owner to be compelled to clean up their property. One of the things that we get a lot of complaints about by our residents is their neighbors. And so with Safe Build's assistance, bringing in professional code enforcement team, this would help in trying to get a better handle on code enforcement.
Mayor, I
Yeah.
have a few follow-up
Sure,
questions.
go ahead.
if you don't mind. So this person or persons, did they specify how many are going to be here is this
An
actually?
additional 20 hours a week that would be placed at City Hall.
Okay, and that would be a safe built personnel
Yes,
contractor who would have a temporary office at City Hall.
that's correct.
And how accessible are they planning to be? Are they accessible by the general public?
Yes, they will be. Elizabeth is accessible, I'm accessible. However, by them, that is their venue, being a professional. Code enforcement, also inspection service. They all have the tools to be able to deal with a public professional.
And this person is a professional code enforcement inspector person.
That would not only be our hope, it would be our expectation. And if they couldn't do it, then we would obviously have to do something different.
So they would, so if a member of the public had an issue where they needed electrical checked out or a plumbing issue or a structural issue, would this one person be qualified to take on those different roles, or would there have to be a
No.
rotating cast of people in the office?
No, we would still have to rely on their professional expertise, somebody who's licensed in the trades to be able to do that inspection. This is mostly code enforcement.
Okay, and so as a code enforcement officer, would you give us an idea of what their daily tasks would be?
Sure. I can tell you from Liz's standpoint, they write tickets. And right now, Liz writes tickets. They have so many days to respond, and then it gets turned over to call for enforcement.
I was gonna say, I mean, I think what Councilman Frost is asking about is, think about it in the context of property maintenance code. So this person would be looking for the general code issues that we run into routinely that Liz, because she's only one person, is having trouble keeping up with. So, you know, blight on the property, having, you know, refuse, structural, I mean, they could write code for structural issues. We have houses that don't have protective treatment or paint on the house, which is a common one. Broken windows, missing windows, being boarded up, fire damage, things like that. That's what they're gonna be focusing on. Anything else that would, you know, if somebody's gonna make an improvement, whether it's electrical or plumbing or building or anything like that, that's a separate thing. They apply for permits through Safe Build or through the city. And then those people that are licensed in the trades, as the city manager said, would come out and do inspections with me. This is more towards a property maintenance code.
Okay, thank you. Well, that brings up another question, city manager. I appreciate your patience with my questions. I'm very interested in this topic. So if this person's job is going to be to assist our Ms. Lewis in going around and you know, notating properties that need issues, is a part-time person at 20 hours a week going to be able to fulfill that mission properly at the expense that the city is going to be paying?
Well, again, this is an initiative that was brought by the administration. we're not quite certain where we'll get. Obviously, as time goes on, we might have to do some fine tuning. It could be that maybe it doesn't work. And then we would have to revert back to some other method of effective code enforcement. I can tell you this, that code enforcement not only is about sight and blight, but it's also about safety. And one of the things that we worry about at City Hall is children getting into abandoned buildings and getting hurt. Or any member of the public. So that's what our aim is to try to make these buildings not only safer, but also out of respect for our neighbors in our neighborhoods, is to make them more presentable. We know that there are property owners who have stacks and stacks of tires. We have, if you drive around, we see abandoned RV vehicles. Countless number of those. So the idea is that we need to get a better handle on making our town more attractive, so that our own residents can enjoy their own properties. So that's the goal there.
Okay. Thank you, I'll stand down.
Mayor Protem French.
So right now, we have Safe Built who's assisting with code enforcement.
To a certain extent, yes.
So the concern I have is that are we adding an additional 20 hours? Or is the however many hours they give us already in code enforcement going to be included in that 20? So we're not really getting 20, we're getting 20 minus what they already provide.
No, we're gonna be getting an additional.
Okay,
20.
okay. Thank you.
Councilwoman Davis.
Thank you. This is something that I like because I was on the council when we did rental certification. One of the major complaints was, oh, you are asking landlords to repair their property, and the city isn't doing anything about code enforcement for non-landlords. So this is something that if it passes, I hope, answering all of the questions, but I hope we also inform the public of what we're doing and how we're trying to clean up the community, clean up the city. Maybe an article or naturally connected or, or something to get the positive word out in terms of what we're trying to do to make our city more appealing.
Again, a lot of this is education and it's communication on our part. Today I was challenged by a question and a criticism, and it's probably warranted. We aren't the best communicators. We're not marketers. We're not advertisers. We protect the public. That's what we do the best. One of the things that we do have to do a better job at, and this isn't just Albion, this is all government, is we need to communicate better with our citizens. That means that using Cassie at Brandy, using Billy Bears at the chamber, having him come up with certain strategies to assist the administration in getting the word out, I think is well worth the pursuit. And I would encourage the next manager, the new manager, to embrace that philosophy, because a lot of it is communication. This way, our citizens have an expectation of what is expected of them in maintaining their property. And I think that's important. So that's, now, let me tell you the expense side. I ride the same bus as David, our finance director, in as much as expenses. we're going into, David is preparing the new budget. We are looking at, we're almost fully funded in the police department. I think believe we're one officer short right now. And hopefully we'll have that filled pretty soon. $90,000 is a tremendous amount of money. Tremendous. And I'm cautious that we want to present a balanced budget, and not only that, a responsible budget that meets our citizens' needs. So I am concerned about it. And I will tell you firsthand that the first time that we have to start making cuts, we'll do that in order to meet our fiduciary requirements. But again, you've given me the task of certain chores. You got ordinances. These ordinances have to be complied with. There's property owners that aren't complying with it. And this is what this person would do, is assist Elizabeth in trying to get our homeowners, our property owners, to abide by those requirements. I welcome any questions or comments.
Councilman Williams.
Thank you. Okay, so, between Liz's role and the initial role she had in the code enforcement role, those are 3 separate roles, right? She wasn't initially staffed in that office as code enforcement, correct?
I believe she was. Then we had Ian who did zoning. What Liz also does is she assists with me in doing zoning, so we tag team quite a bit.
Okay, so she's not the planning director?
No,
Okay.
no, for lack of better words, I'm your zoning administrator. I have the certificate from Michigan State University, which is required to issue zoning permits.
Right. Okay, my skepticism of this and forward dealings with Safe Build is the problems that we've tried to work through with dealing with them over the course of the last few months with issues that landlords have presented with trying to move through the permitting phase.
Your hours.
Yeah, and just how difficult the actual process was. And it even took us a while to get through the process to get to a answer in what needs to be replaced or need to be fixed so that the landlord could move forward with his property. With them being in-house, I guess I'll save my personal opinion, but do you think that this would shorten the resolution time for some of those issues? The reason I'm asking that is because if not, we're bringing them in-house and we're going to continue to have the same issues.
I would look at this as an experiment. Either it's gonna succeed or it's gonna fail, and I guess at the point of where we're not seeing the results we want, then we should pull the plug.
And that's what I was gonna ask. How long is this agreement for? I mean, is it a year? Is it for the duration that we're in a contract with Safe Belt? Because I mean, I also have concerns about paying a part-time person this kind of money. In 1 year's time, it's almost 90 grand for a part-time person, basically ticketing. If that's my understanding of what you were saying that person's responsibility was gonna be.
So
It's an amendment. I think so. So it's an amendment to the existing agreement. So the amendment would expire at the same time that the underlying agreement expires.
That gives me heartburn.
I agree.
When does that agreement end?
5 years.
From now?
No,
No, it was approved in 21, I believe.
That's what I thought, so it's only 1 more year.
Or is it a normal year?
I'm gonna check that.
Councilman Frost?
My thoughts back in the sheet. So I have been a part of some of Safe Built's thing projects that they've been involved with, do contracts and and half of them. And I know a lot of the people who are builders and contractors around town who require their services, and from my own personal experiences, and others and other people's, I'm not satisfied that they are the contractor to be hiring for yet another contract. If this is something that can be, and I agree, it's necessary, and I don't think anyone here would disagree that we need more code enforcement, and we need to get this town looking well, and we need to make safety a real priority for our public. Is there another, can we, well, I think I know the answer to this, but firstly, I think we should look locally within Albion. And if not, then is there a contractor in the Calhoun County vicinity that we can look to hire this out and use that as an experiment under maybe a 1-year contract? That's my suggestion. But
Can I respond?
please.
This proposed agreement came out of a meeting because of frustration on the part of some council members and also on the part of the administration. So again, this is what they have given us in hope to help rectify some of those frustrations. The administration is bringing it forth to council tonight just to see what their thoughts are. There's no requirement to passing it tonight. You want to give it more time, that is fine. We can still, as a team, look for other solutions. I'm not opposed to that at all, not at all. But I know that we need to give Liz in that office, in the ordinance, as you have passed, that opportunity to do the things that it was intended to.
And I agree that this council should make the priority to solve that problem.
Councilman Stewart.
So, city manager, you know how I feel about code enforcement, and maybe everybody doesn't, but I'm a strong advocate for complete, thorough, compassionate code enforcement in our town. I think it's a prerequisite for us moving forward in a lot of fronts. So from that standpoint, I would like to see our code enforcement beefed up. I was disappointed in this because I would like to see, I feel I don't provide a lot of details, partly because I'm not prepared to do it. But there are a number of examples, in my opinion, where Albion is suffering economically and from a development perspective because we don't have a planning director in place. Someone who can shepherd development projects through, who can oversee code enforcement and permitting processes in the city of Albion and guide people. And to me, it's a very large hole. And I think it has caused over the years a number of fronts, frustrations on a number of fronts. So Mr. Williams, you were talking about the frustrations that we've been hearing. And a lot of those, in my opinion, require someone behind a desk in the city of Albion that people can go for and use as a resource. And city manager, you've done a fine job of fielding things. I'm not impugning you on this at all, but I feel like there's a person missing. And maybe there's also another code enforcement person missing. I don't know the answer. So in my opinion, this isn't enough, and it's kind of expensive now that you guys have pointed it out. I mean, I'd almost rather see us bring someone in and pay them that and train them. Liz has done a great job. Maybe we can do somebody else for this particular thing. But in my opinion, it's not enough. It's not, we need it for sure, but there's other things we need to do as well. So,
Well, given that,
Attorney Harkness, just chime in a bit.
So just so council's aware, I just looked, the previous city council approved the underlying contractor safe built December 20th of 2021. So that contract and this prospective amendment would expire 60 months, which is the term of the agreement, which is December of next year. So the contract automatically expires in December. Additionally, council should be aware the contract does have a clause that says either party can terminate either the entirety of the agreement or any part of the agreement upon 90 days written notice. So if council pursues this as an option and sees it isn't working, you can give 90 days notice and cancel this part.
Councilman Williams.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Cullen, as well. I just want to say, even with the 90-day notice, more than likely, once they're here, we're not gonna get rid of them. Well, that's the, that's the talking point, right? Okay, so, with that being said, though, have we received what we paid for? Have we evaluated what we paid for with establishing and hiring and consulting with Safe Build initially? I know that the rental certification is going into play as of, I think it was October, someday this month. Which was a year later than what we initially had agreed to, but I would like to see, are we providing the services that we need to? Have we made the application process smoother than before? Have we addressed the issues that we actually had that made us want to consult with them in the first place? Yeah.
And my concern was, I know I'm speaking out of, I was just saying that I haven't used them and I don't know anyone. I just want the job to get done and get done correctly and efficiently. So, it sounds like we may want to go back to the drawing board to reconsider. And if this is what we want, if there are guidelines, expectations of what we want, maybe a number, if we have a number of properties that, need to be addressed, can we give them some guidelines and expectations in terms of what they are to accomplish within 6 months, within 9 months or a year or something like that? But I guess from where I sit and not being a landlord anymore, we just need the job to get done efficiently.
Without going any further, I do want to extend my sincere thanks to both Aaron and Liz, because they are in the trenches every day and they do a great job. It's just that over the years we've fallen behind. So, and I think most of you, of course, I remember what Albion was 50 years ago. And I think that is what we want to try to do, is try to bring it back to that environment which neighbors appreciate one another and neighbors taking care of their problem. So, the administration at this time, after hearing the council sentiment, we can withdraw this tonight's request and try to come up with alternative plans if that's your desire.
I mean, I understand the need, kind of like what Councilman Stewart was saying. We definitely have the need to have somebody in place to do this work. There's a lot going on in the community and a lot of unhappy residents. Along with that same sentiment, I do believe that with this amount of money, we could hire in a director of planning. But the short-term fix, what's the answer? Because that process would probably be pretty lengthy if we open up. Yeah.
It feels like we need to, I hate to say have a meeting, but we need to have a collective approach to getting this solved, or a subordinate group, taking an approach to figure out what we think our next step ought to be.
City
We
man,
should make it with some merchants.
city manager, has there been discussion already with Safe Belt about how soon they could get somebody here to start this work?
I believe within a month. It was a long time since we've had that meeting with them. It sounded to me like they'd have somebody in as soon as possible, so I would think within a month. But to answer your question honestly, I really can't speak on one. That was my understanding.
Mayor Pro Tem French.
So again, trying to make everybody happy is very hard. Perhaps what we can do is have the city attorney and the city manager get together and see, can we agree to a 6-month contract? So with Safe Built to bring somebody in for 20 hours a week for 6 months. And that at 5 months, we will evaluate whether or not we want to continue it for another 6 months.
Why don't you just, you can approve this and evaluate it at 90 days, and if it's not meeting your expectations, you give them notice and you're out in another 90 days, there's your 6 months.
The question though is 3 months sufficient time, given the weather and given this time of year, whether 3 months is sufficient? That's the only concern I have, right? Because it's gonna, we enter a contract, it takes them a month to bring somebody in. Now they only have 2 months before we get evidence of their good or bad work, and then we have to make a decision. So that's the only reason I was trying to. But I'm okay with that suggestion.
Well, we're gonna be going into. Within a
Budget.
month, we're gonna be going into budget session. Maybe this is a discussion that would be more appropriate at those budget discussions, because at this time. We do not want to spend $90,000 and not have it effective. So my recommendation at this point, after hearing council, is that I will get with Cullen and Liz and Safe Built and whoever else, and we'll try to formulate a plan that might satisfy those code enforcement issues.
Councilwoman Davis.
Yes. What gets measured gets done. So I'm wondering if in the plan, there could be some kind of guidelines or expectations or for accountability purpose, rather than, this, we're gonna give you this, but what are you measuring their success on?
Well, we do have a list of deficient properties.
Okay,
So that if we can eliminate those properties, then that's the measure.
okay.
So that's.
Attorney Harkness.
So as we're talking, I mean, and this may be part of a conversation, a deeper conversation for the meeting that Manager Terry is suggesting, but in terms of the code enforcement, as somebody who does it with the city when it lands in court, I think it's important for council to understand. By way of example, when we have a burned out house, code enforcement may go out and they may tag the property, they may issue a ticket to the property. And then they don't respond and it gets defaulted and they owe the money. But, they didn't have insurance on the house. And so how do you make somebody fix their property? So they may send them another ticket and another ticket. So it's not that they're not doing anything. And I know it may seem like that because you've got these properties that sit there. But then after they don't, if a property is bad enough, they may come to me and say, hey, we need to do a public nuisance action. We have several of those going right now, but it's, sometimes it's like trying to get blood out of a stone. We've got companies that own properties that are out of state. They default on the lawsuits. And so then it's a matter of doing show cause motions and trying to get a court to force to do something with the property. So I tell you all that so that you understand, number one, it's a process. I mean, it's not just like, hey, they go out and say, fix it, give them a ticket and it gets done. It just doesn't work that way. And it frequently just doesn't play out that way. In an ideal world, it would. When code, I'm not afraid to say it. I've actually had code enforcement write me a ticket once for, we had something in our yard that we were supposed to have in our yard apparently, but you know, I paid my fine and it got fixed. That does not usually play out that way in Albion, and I say that with 14 years of experience as a city attorney. It frequently takes a lot. So it's, I don't want council to think it's not because Safe Built's not doing enforcement, or that our in-house code enforcement isn't doing enforcement. It's just difficult to produce those results because the people that are getting cited and the people that are being sued are, I guess the best word I can think of is reluctant to comply. And so sometimes we have to force it, and that takes time.
Wow. Reluctant.
Yes, yeah. So given that we've had a motion and a support,
Move to
Okay.
table.
did you make the original motion?
I think I'm the one that,
You suggest.
no, you're right. It was Jim. We can either table or vote it down.
I'll move to table that. Is
Support
that the right words?
to table the motion.
Just motivated.
Chief. It's coming up.
You're more creaking than David.
I think it's the floor, not his knees.
Thank you for your time. I just wanted to piggyback on this. So Liz is strictly on a complaint basis. She cannot be proactive at all. So our last code enforcement officer, I will say, our department gave them a vest and a body camera, because that's the kind of hostility they face this. So it'd be great to keep this in-house. I would love it that way, but to hire somebody for the position, get them all the certifications they need, and then to retain them is asking for a lot, and I really just don't think that's realistic. So contracting out to Safe Built has benefited us because they've been there and done it for various communities across the state. They know the ins and outs of it. They've seen the hostility. They know how to handle it. A lot of times I am in Liz's pocket or another officer is, because if she goes out, we know where she's going. We're not going to let her go there alone, because again, they're like Colin stated, put it politely, the resistance, if you will, it's more than just that. And I think when people hear code enforcement, sometimes I think people think that they're just nitpicking, but like Manager Terry said, this is really in regards to safety. Because a lot of the complaints that Liz gets does come from our department, because we get into houses on calls, we find the broken windows, we find the holes in the roof, we find the basements that have backed up sewage, and there's children living in this house. So of course we call Child Protective Services, but it doesn't always go end in the way we hope it will. And the next best route is through code enforcement, because we cannot have children living in raw sewage. And you've seen that plenty of times where their house is just full of trash. There's infestation. They cannot believe I've had to go home personally, change out my uniform and clothes because of how many bed bugs and fleas there were. So like I said, I just want to stress the point of, it would love to hire somebody and build them up in our city. However, I don't know anybody who's going to sign up with what we face in this community. So just contracting it out and leaning on St. Bill for a lot of help has made a lot of sense for me personally. I know there is some communications with timeframe for permit wise, which I hope gets ironed out. I've heard that a lot. But working with them, I've enjoyed it. They've been more than helpful, and it takes a lot of work, and we are extremely behind. Honestly, we probably need 3 or 4 code enforcement officers. It's just not something we're going to get, but in reality, that's what I think.
Questions, comments?
And we continue to come.
Go ahead, Councilman Stewart.
Thank you. So if we think about just helping Chief Phipps right this moment, I think I would suggest that because we have the 90-day, that we can move forward, pull it back. My concern is, how do we evaluate the success? And goes back to my other, kind of complaint that we don't have a planning director, because that would naturally fall, the accountability for safe build would fall right there, but with that said, I can support moving forward as long as we collectively put, measures in place so that 3 months after they start, we can have something objective to review.
Attorney Hartness.
So generally, when we handle pre-trial conferences for property maintenance issues at the court, and I would have to look at how many we close a month. I mean, we have a couple of pretrial days a month, and I would say there's at least 4 or 5 every time we do a pretrial day. I can get you a more accurate number, but I can certainly from our office's side tell you as to whether or not there's been an uptick in citations issued in that 90-day period and report that metric back to you.
So, just to let you know. There's a tightrope we walk. All of us. We want compliance, and sometimes we have to bring out enforcement. The other side of it is that we work with our citizens. And as you all know, being representatives of the public, sometimes even though we'll put on our best face forward, it doesn't always work out that way. So we try to get people to comply. We try to use kindness. We use de-escalation tools, but it doesn't always work out that way. And sometimes compliance is a very subjective thing. So he can give you the measurement of actual people we take to court. But when people come up to City Hall and they haven't noticed, they wave it in your face, they said, you know what, you don't know what you're talking about. This is my property. I'm not gonna comply because you don't know what you're talking about. We deal with that day in and day out. That's the realities. Nobody, when we are coming on to enforce the laws of this city, we're not always the most likable people. But yet, we still have to do what we do to enforce the laws. So I just want to make that clear. Maybe 90 days is the solution. I don't know. That's why I brought it up to you.
Councilman Stewart. I'm sorry, Frost.
Thank you, Mayor. I am sympathetic to the issue, and certainly I'm hearing you, Chief Phipps, on the issues at hand and the kinds of reluctance to resistance, whatever euphemism we want to call it, for the very unfriendly reception you're receiving at the doors. However, I think that if we're going to spend any time and money that belongs to the people to solve this problem, I think we should tackle it head on in the right way. And I don't think that further subcontracting with the company that who has yet to fully prove itself in a positive way for this community is the right way to do it. I think that we need to look for a proper, dedicated contractor from hopefully somewhere more local to facilitate this for us.
So I guess it doesn't hurt to table so that we can do some further investigation, what other possible opportunities or options may be out there for this. We just want to make sure we have a date as to when we want to return this back to the agenda. And in between that time, if we want to do some research, if we need to make outreach to Attorney Harkness or City Manager or Chief Phipps to get more insight, I would encourage you all to do that. So Councilman Stewart, what date?
Month, no, you think?
I mean, we don't have to have a date to table.
Yes,
You know,
yes, yes, you do.
You can say in table it's indefinite.
It's in depth.
But I would
I
prefer to
think
have a
we're-
date.
if I may,
Mhm.
I think we're gonna table it, we should just vote it down. And then figure out what we wanna do and bring it back.
No, it doesn't, Councilman Stewart, it doesn't work that way. If you vote it down, somebody that's on the prevailing side of the vote could bring it back only if there's like new information that or something has changed really. I mean, my suggestion would be, if you're still considering this as an option, you table. Voting it down is gonna complicate the matter.
I would just like to say this, thank you to Chief Phipps for adding additional clarity. Doug, not that you didn't do a good job, you did, but thank you for adding that additional clarity as well. The concerns that I have aren't necessarily, maybe they will be handled in the amendment. But we do have information that we want to gather before making this decision. I'm sure we all do. But we all want to see a solution that'll be beneficial and address the concerns that Chief Phipps has, as well as the rest of city staff. So if we take a little bit of time, come back, have further discussion about it, I think we'll be able to come to a resolution. That's why we may not want to just vote it down today.
So do we think like a month would give us enough time?
I was thinking that maybe if we do it second meeting.
It's November 17th.
Or you could table it and have the administration bring information as we develop, so that we can make an informed decision.
You don't have to have it really.
I can give you an update on a monthly basis. As I learn, as we study this issue.
There's a lot of variables here. Rental certification, as Councilman Williams mentioned, this all put together, they all affect each other. So there is a lot of things that are play a role here in this topic.
And it's financial. We have to make sure that council's priorities are carried out in this next fiscal year that we're proposing. So I want to make council sensitive to that as well.
So I am gonna at the table it until 17th of November. And
We'll bring it back on the agenda.
and put it back on the agenda at that time. And we'll have additional information in the meanwhile, we believe.
And then we can also do our own research and. Yes.
So that's not part of the motion, but that's, I am making a motion in that direction. And I would, I have other things to say, but I don't want to.
So he made a motion table.
And I second.
So.
So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Right, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Right, do I have a motion to approve the appointments for Jim Stewart reappointment to DDA and EDC and Tom Hornstorfer for reappointment to Planning Commission?
Support.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right,
Excuse me.
I'm sorry. Yep.
Were we gonna have conversation on that at all or no?
We just approved it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I did have discussion.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we're in line here. Okay. So I have a couple questions, mainly about the possibility for conflict of interest. I just want to make sure that we're in alignment. So Cullen, I guess this would probably be directed more so towards you. With the appointment, well, let me try to keep it as plain as possible. The landlord of the EDC building being on the EDC board, does that present a issue of conflict?
So hypothetically, if he was appointed to the board he would just have to recuse himself from any particular vote, like approving a lease or basically anything that he would have a financial interest.
Gotcha, gotcha. That would also pertain to any of the contracts that they may currently have with the EDC as well?
That the landlord has with the EDC? Yes.
Well, the board member. The potential board member.
So I just want to make sure I'm understanding your question. So if the potential board member had contracts with the EDC or prospective contracts with the EDC, yes, they would have to, number one, they'd have to disclose them, and number two, they'd have to recuse themselves from a vote on those particular issues.
On a specific issue.
Correct.
What about the disclosing of those in the application? Would they need to be done, or is that another conversation held outside of that?
Disclosing potential conflicts in the application to the board?
Yeah.
I don't know that we have a space for that.
I think as a member of the EDC board, every year we are required to fill out a conflict of interest form.
Okay.
That then lists and identifies all potential conflicts of interest that exist currently. So that, and we have to sign that.
Perfect. And I would have asked these questions in the study session, so pardon me, but we didn't get to.
Oh, sorry, did you have another question?
No, did you answer the application question?
I don't think it's on the application, whether or not there's a potential conflict.
Because it's separate.
I think in the application it says, business relationships. Do you or your spouse or any close family member currently have a business relationship with the city? So does that meet the need, or are we okay to proceed?
Page 59.
It's on the second page of the applications. It's the
63.
second to the last question.
Is the contract a business entity or is it?
So first of all, let me say that thank you for bringing it up. Been crossing my mind since I filled out the application. I'll say two things. He's absolutely right to bring it up. First of all, second of all, there's a glitch in our form, because I filled out the form two different. I filled them out differently, but it printed them out it submitted them as the same form. So my form for the DDA, what you're seeing for the EDC is what I filled out for the DDA.
Gotcha, it's the same one printed twice.
And what I filled out for the EDC was slightly different. If there's something I should do and move the table, this is fine doing that, but I am one partner in a company called Urban Group Development that does have contracts with the EDC right now and has for quite a while. And then I'm also a partner in a company called Urban Group Properties, which is the landlord for the EDC's space downtown. So I think it's a very fair question.
And I'm not worried about it.
In which the majority of us were aware of these things, so it's not, like I said, it would have been discussed in the study session. But it just, we didn't have enough time. Are we good?
So as long as Councilman Stewart understands that for being appointed to the board, he'd have to recuse himself from those votes. There's not a problem with the committee.
May I say that in the DDA, there have been a number of times where things have come up and to say, I think vote on this. So,
Thank you, Councilman Williams.
yep, no problem.
Next is the approval of changing the operation hours of City Hall.
Permission to approach podium.
Where is it?
Madam Mayor, and members of council, thank you for giving the administration the approach and discuss this. Over the summer, as you know, we have a change with summer hours where we're working half Fridays and extending our hours a little bit longer. In the last few months, we've been measuring the success of that program and how it affects our citizens. And that is the number one concern that we have to have, is serving our citizens. So, the Union Police Officers Association of Michigan and our representative, Mr. Eric Tobin, and I have had many discussions concerning the possibility of going to a 4-day work week with extended hours. We felt that after we had come to the conclusion that it was well worth a pursuit, we felt that this was a council decision. And based on the science, and Eric has done a tremendous job of looking up that information of other communities to see how they've handled a 4-day work week administratively. We know that DPW already does it, it works out well. We do it only on a limited basis during the summer. So Eric has done a great job in our zeal to also keep City Hall and keep the employees happy. We have to apply modern techniques, which are done out in the private sector as well. So learning from those, we have put together a what could be a schedule subject to your approval. So I'd like to have Eric just also give the union side of our desire to pursue this. I want you to know that the union and management get along very well. So this is a design by both of us.
Super. Thank you, Doug. As Doug said, it's been a project that we've been working on, taking a look at things. We appreciate the council's support in having us do summer hours that Doug had talked about. They had gone over really well with not only our staff, but a lot of people also were happy to have that additional hour in the morning where they could come in before that 8 to 5 work day and see us. We were there at 7 o'clock and we would come in and see us. So what we're looking to do is we thought, we took it to our members, Doug had given the idea of what happens if we extend that program and, you know, make it year round instead of just in the summer, where there wasn't that lag time of things dropping off. You know, where all of a sudden this week we're on the summer hours and next week we're off the summer hours. So is City Hall open today or not? So we came up with, we talked to our members and our members like the 410 option where we're on 410s, we work 7 to 6 p.m. So we'd be here an hour early and an hour afterwards to meet the public. So that gives 2 extra hours a day to the public to be able to come in and meet with us that are outside that 8 to 5 hours. And in doing that, that will give us Friday off. And so that's worked out well for many other cities. Example would be the city of Springfield. Also in Calhoun County, they've been on 4 days, 4 10-hour days for almost 10 years now. So the county government started off as a summer hour program and now it went to a full year-round program where they're off half days and Fridays. Right now year-round. The city of Muskegon, city of Muskegon Heights, city of Lapeer, all of those have friends. I gave a whole list of others that have reduced or off hours. So we just thought it was a good thing to do to not only give a benefit out to the employees, but also give a benefit out to the members of the public.
We took a look at the window. Obviously, that's a good measurement of how busy we are on Fridays. By lunchtime, it just drops right off. So one of the thoughts that we had was that, and again, our number one priority is serving our citizens. That is paramount. So what we had thought was that it would make it a little bit more convenient for employees getting out of work at 5 o'clock, knowing that we would be open Monday through Thursday, where they could come in, pay taxes, water bill, take out applications for different building. So that's why we thought that, and again, we felt that this was an important decision that the council should make, not the city manager. So we wanted to present this as team effort and see what your thoughts are. We welcome any questions or comments. If so approved, what we would do is enter into the letter of understanding with the union, both management and we would make this effective.
So we probably look at something around the first part of it. We want to give plenty of enough notice to the public to.
Mayor Pro Tem French.
So as someone who works out of town, those hours don't help me, but then again, the other hours didn't help me at all either. So did you look at 7:30 to 6:30 or some other time to give those of us who work out of town a chance to get back into town and still be able to take care of city business?
We do, no, to answer your question, well, we looked at the 7 to 6, and the reason why we did that was because when you start going past 6 o'clock, you're really encroaching into grandparents and extracurricular activities for their kids.
Understood.
So we thought that was a very acceptable, plus the fact that we had worked in that with those hours before, and it seemed to be very effective.
Councilman Frost.
Thank you, Mayor. Which city employees would this apply to?
City Hall.
City Hall. Okay, thank you. I must have missed.
So you'll be 7 to 6 with Friday off.
Yes.
And 12 to 1 or 1 to 2 off?
We'd be straight.
Well, 7 to 6 is 11 hours.
Yeah.
So that's 44 hours. Not 4.
So we have an hour off for lunch, so there's a rotating schedule of people.
I see, okay.
Councilwoman Davis.
Yes, thank you. Okay, I mean, this is different, and it will be an adjustment, I think for the community. So if something is due on Friday, is there a grace period to water? Your water bill is due on Friday. It just happened to fall on Friday. But if the office isn't open, will the customer or the citizen be charged for that day or for, time?
There are things that we can give grace on. There are other things that we can't.
Mm-hmm.
For example, your tax bill is due on September 15th.
Mm-hmm.
Your winter. Well, okay. I'm used to dealing with other municipalities. Usually in winter taxes are usually due February. February 14th. Right. So anyway, we can't necessarily give a grace on something that's established by the state of Michigan or the county. Water bills we can, because it's our business.
Okay.
So we can give grace on those.
Okay.
So people are going, knowing that we're closed on Friday, they're gonna have to get their taxes in on time.
Right, yeah, I understand that, but
Councilman Frost.
Thank you, Mayor. So I had a job once where I worked 4 10s, also a Monday to Thursday schedule, same hours. For me, it was great because that left Fridays for me to schedule doctor's appointments and go to City Hall and take care of things at City Hall. Now, as city manager, when you introduced this idea to us, you said this is something that the private sector is doing, which I'm aware the private sector is doing that. But if more and more people are going to the same schedule that City Hall will be on, hoping that Fridays are going to be open for them to take care of their city business, like Councilman Davis alluded to, I can see that how that might be problematic. And even though, let's say if your taxes, whatever day, September to what your taxes are due, let's say Saturday, well, obviously you don't be here Saturday anyway. But weekday, like Fridays, given still that you're open for business hours. I'm just throwing it out there, but sure. I
Completely
understand.
understand, completely agree with you. The balance is we're trying to do something also to retain employees. Right now, we're blessed with a competent staff. Anything that I can do, we can do to retain it, so is very important. As you know, the challenges of retaining talent today is very difficult. Go ahead.
Excuse me, are there enough personnel to have a set to Monday through Thursday and then another set Tuesday through Friday?
It makes it very difficult, especially when scheduling vacation. As it is now, we barely have enough staff to cover it. When we go to monthly billing on our water bills, again, we can give grace on a Friday, but we are in the process of redesigning that whole system itself. So. But the benefit is that people can come in after, if they work 9 to 5, they can come into City Hall, we'll be open at 6 and they can pay their bill.
Thank you.
What's the buy-in from all the employees?
100%.
So everybody's on board from working 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Thursday, regardless of what's going to happen during that Monday through Thursday.
Except for city manager.
Because then what happens if somebody has to take a couple of hours off for whatever reason? How do they make up that time on Friday?
Say it when.
Well, they have vacation time.
When what is on?
So you're going to make them take vacation time.
They have to take leave currently, right?
Yeah. So like in my case, we're employees 24/7. So if we have to be in on Friday, we have to be in on Friday to work. Now, in the case of like some of the administrative staff that work the windows, I just don't see them having to come in on Friday. And if they are, we would give them flexible hours so they can take off maybe the next week. If they work, say 2 hours on Friday, and then they could take 2 hours off on Monday. I don't have a problem with that.
I just have a couple of concerns because I don't think that, because I come from this kind of paradigm as well, where initially it sounds great, but then as lives happen and people can't stay until 6, then are they going to come in on Friday or to make up that time? I just know that happens, life happens, where somebody can't commit till that 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. And then how do they make up that time during that week? We have to have a way, at least, to figure out that component of it before we take that total jump. And also, I think we need to allow our citizens more time than 2 weeks notice before we shut down on Friday, because a lot of people bank on that building being open on Fridays as well. So I would just like to make sure everybody's on board. And then if you can't get your 40 hours in 4 days, what do they do on Friday?
And I was just thinking, if you're having it just for City Hall, I would like that better than if it was for like the city's workers that have to do the snow removal, stuff like that. That's because you've got school kids and you've got school problems. So you need to have city workers working the streets for wintertime.
They do that anyway. I have a question.
Mayor Protem.
Yeah, so currently, the only issue with the schedule that the mayor suggested would be a problem was if a person had to take some hours off on Thursday of the second week of a pay period. So how does that happen now? If they work on Friday and they have to take a couple hours off on a Friday of a last day of a pay period, how do they make that up? They make it up in the next week, right? So we do the same thing, right? It's just that we consider the work week to be 4 days instead of 5.
But if the extra day's not there to make it up, right?
Well, they make it up on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah, but if what, like you said, it's the end of that pay period.
But how do we do that now if they're working on Friday and they have to take time off on Friday of the 2 weeks of the pay period?
Again, so you're gonna
That-
make them take vacation or PTO, whatever they have.
Right, but that's what they do now. So we just do the same thing with a 4-day week instead of a 5-day.
Yes, Councilman Frost.
I think that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So to just touch on the concern raised by Councilwoman Davis, so like with utility billing, just hypothetically, if a bill was due on a Friday and City Hall wasn't open on Friday, we would have to amend our ordinance before we, I think, in advance, because the way that it reads right now, and this is just using water as an example, it says, if it's not paid by the date, a 10% penalty shall be added. So right now it's got a mandatory penalty if it's not paid by the date. So we would have to add something like, however, except if the due date falls on a date when City Hall is not open to operations, it falls to the next business day or something like that.
Councilman Frost.
Thank you. City manager, you did say that you had come up with some metrics as far as the amount of time, persons who were served at the desks in City Hall and the days and times. Is that correct?
Eric, I guess we had talked about that. You want to?
Yeah, so we did some counts on Friday. For example, 2 weeks ago, we had 17 people there on Friday, the whole day.
And how does that compare with other days?
Mondays, we could have over 100. So like that, including mail and phone calls and all that. Friday seems to be our less busiest day of the week.
So on a Monday or a Tuesday, you could have over 100 people, and then on a Friday, as of 2 weeks ago, Friday, you had only 17 people.
Correct.
And is that pretty typical? I don't know
Yeah.
how long
It
you're.
fluctuates a little bit with the cycle of water bill. Currently, we would have to see on the water bill. Currently, the water bills are due on Tuesday, so they're always due on Tuesday. But so it would never be. But and again, we have to change the ordinance because that's what it's the so to make it on a Friday, that's the day that we can stick with that. So but yeah, it would just be, we have very few, that's the slowest time, and it's also the time when more people tend to take the day off too. Okay, it's also, we end up having.
As far as water billing, our system is going to be completely redesigned. As Finance Director Clark, Ken Phillips, our Utilities Director, Jason, our DPW Director will tell you, the whole system needs to be redesigned. You don't need to pull out. The system needs to be redesigned. So we will have the flexibility, we're not having the chore of collecting water bills on Friday. We can design it that way.
Right now, the water bills can be paid online. We started to roll it out, it's just got some here. when we're done with this water system, you'll be able to pay off your phone. So there's gonna be some revamps we'll have to do to the ordinance as it is, but you won't have to physically come in and pay anymore like you used to back in the early eighties.
Sure,
Are we-
I can appreciate the building concerns, but so on the one hand, between Monday and Thursday, you can get anyone between 300 and 400 members of the public coming in, only to have 15 to 20, let's say, come in on a Friday. And I understand, that's a huge difference. On the other hand, so we're just talking about having, someone in city hall staffing for code enforcement. Well, I know in the building community, contractors, builder contractor community, Friday is the day when those people go out and they get their permits applied for, and there's a lot that goes on Fridays for city hall in that standpoint. Where does it leave folks who as a matter of their business routine?
Safety only services, Monday through Thursday. They're not, they are totally closed everywhere. Even the Athens office is closed on Friday.
Great, thank you.
Councilman Stewart, did you have a question? Councilman Williams, did you have a question?
Lost my train of thought.
So I'm kind of glad that Councilman Frost brought this up because again, like I said, in my arena, we've done this, but we had to have data given to us before our administration would approve a change in hours. So I would like to see at least some data instead of this is kind of what we think we're seeing.
Okay.
I would like to see data as to how many people are coming in on Monday through Friday.
We can do that. Well, we can do a census of who comes in. On when, yeah. It's not a. It's a problem on this one too.
I do it.
Councilman Williams.
Yeah, thank you. You helped me out. Being that we do flex time in the summer, have we noticed any issues with that? As far as with employees making the time up, in comparison to the concerns that we've raised, have you noticed any issues?
So we, as far as staff is concerned, we didn't notice issues. As far as citizens, I was going to told we get 2 complaints.
Gotcha.
We weren't open enough. We worked in the afternoon.
Yeah, so summer hours, we were open for the morning and Fridays, correct?
So 8
Okay, now, was it just an hour early throughout the week?
Yes.
Okay, so that hour early gave you the additional 4 hours that you needed to make up. And you didn't have issues with people leaving because it still met the same time that they would normally leave?
Correct.
Well, anybody wants to take a day off, they go through the formal
Right,
vacation request form.
I got you,
We would expect the same thing that would still be in place.
I got you. Yeah, we don't have apprehension to the summer hours, and this one's a full day, but I get the concern that everybody has, and I also get the concern of staff being that home life balance is important, so I'm with you, Mayor.
We can provide the signs, that's not a problem.
Okay, who made the motion to approve? Did we make a motion to approve?
I think I do.
No, okay. So I will make a motion that we table this approval of changing the such for a month. So if we can start tallying how many customers are coming in Monday through Friday. That way that can be brought back to us again in a month's time. Which date did we say that was?
17.
17th. Do I have a support?
We're gonna wait a month.
Yes.
And then after then, we meet, we're gonna try, no.
No, so we're tabling this until another month. At that point, if it's approved, then we're gonna have to give people notice. So do I have a support for that motion?
Support.
Pick one, Jill, it doesn't matter.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Awesome, thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the expenditure for a leaf back machine?
So moved.
Here it comes.
Before we hear the presentation.
Welcome back.
I
You want
to-
vacation slides, but.
Right. Good evening, council. Back in July, August of 2024, you all approved the purchase of a large leaf bag system.
Yes, we
We
do.
placed the order for it, hoping that was gonna show up last fall. And that didn't happen. And so then we were told it was gonna show up this summer. That has not happened either. They built a new facility to manufacture these units. And now they're saying the next summer. Problem we're running into though, is the leaves are starting to fall. And we are very, very limited of how we can pick them up. We have that brand new front end loader that you all bought and brand new tractors. And the last thing you want us doing is scraping our streets with the bucket of that Caterpillar front end loader.
He's been still recovering.
It takes a long time, to do it. The dealership, Queen Industries, had a unit come in. It's a little bit smaller than the one that we had placed on order. It came in from the city of Charlevoix. It was well kept. They brought it down to us. We tried it out for a day and we put it through the test. And our staff loved it. That unit goes for about $100,000 right now. They're giving it to us for $65,000 because they have not been able to fulfill their promise that we are supposed to get our. That other leaf bag is still on order. The thought is two different things. Myself, Director Terry, Director Clark, is to get this machine now. It'll do what we need to do for leaf pickup. Use it this year, see where we're at, and see if we want to either keep it, cancel the order, or keep the order and sell this one later on. And so we just kind of want to have some options, but this will be able to help us pick up the leaves this fall.
Is this the one like the one in Marshall where it goes along and it just sucks the things up into you?
So it's pulled by one of the new dump trucks. There's an operator that sits on a trailer and it's got a joystick and it's got a huge arm that comes out and sucks up the piles. And then the street sweeper goes behind that. And it's a 25-yard dumpster that shreds the leaves, compacts them, and then they're able to dump out the rear of it and we take it to the tree dump. And this will be the first year the tree dump is legitimately opened by the state and approved by the state in 5 years. So we're just about done and ready for leaves with all the construction we've done there. And so this is just the last piece of the puzzle to bring it back home. So
Do we know a schedule of where it's going to be going so people can have their stuff?
yes, we'll be working on that. The staff and I have already talked about it last week or the week before. We started talking about coming up with a schedule and also notification because we don't want people to put the leaves in the street. We want them to stay on the right of way so we can come through because the problem is it plugs up the storm sewer drains. And that's a huge problem for us. And so our goal is to have some of the riding, if you might have seen it at the cemetery and the Parks Department, they have those huge ride-on blowers. They can take and kind of sweep that off the street and also up into the sidewalk or off the sidewalk into the right of way. And then we'll come through and suck all that up. But yes, we want to develop like pretty much in grids is what we're looking at doing. This is this section here, this section following weeks.
Mayor Protem French.
So currently, we are spending, 25 cents for a bag to put leaves in brown paper bags that we buy at Ace Hardware or wherever. Is that continuing or are we going to be replacing that with this?
That's going to be up to you all.
No,
That's
the recommendation would be to continue that. Why? Because we usually don't service backyards. A lot of people use those bags in their backyard.
No
And-
question.
And so we want to make this user-friendly for not only our citizens, our residents, but also for our staff. And also we have to get those leaves out of the gutter pan.
Right.
So that we're not having a ponding situation. That's critical.
So I think we need to be very, very clear. Because I live in an oak forest in precinct 6, and in the old days,
Yes, sir.
right?
I remember
People would
that.
just blow the leaves from the backyard into the easement and they would get picked up.
Yeah.
And so I think what we need to be careful is that that's gonna happen. And so we have to be very vocal and say, the expectation for citizens is that the only leaves that are gonna get picked up are the ones that naturally fall on the easement and in the street. And that's gonna be a hell of a hard thing to do.
It's gonna be very hard. You are 100% correct, because we're running into that problem the last 2 years.
Right.
And the bags fail, and there's issues with that, and the timeliness pickup, that needs to be a discussion with Ranger.
Yep.
From management, because I've seen it all too often. Someone goes through, puts all these leaves together in bags, and here comes a rainstorm. And then those bags just don't cut it.
Last year, I think, and the year before that, because I was in Marshall, and I just rode by and just parked over to the side and watched that thing came by, and it just sucked those leaves up, and they were out on the other side of the sidewalk, and it just piled up there, and they just came by and just souped them right up. It was really rough.
And that's what we're looking to do with this.
Yeah.
Just, we're hoping to have the one that we spec'd out and ordered, but it's just not happening this year.
Mayor Potemkin.
Just a follow-up, your treasurer provided us a list of everything that was bought in 2024. And you spent $7,300 on a Bittergy vac to do the same thing.
Yes.
Is that still an operation? Yeah, so it's smart, but it's still operational, correct?
Correct. Yes, we still have it. In fact, our staff actually built the box. We got it from the Village of Athens. They let us borrow their box, and our staff was able to replicate it from scratch.
Right.
And it's in one of our dump trucks, but it's a very small machine, and it usually is used for the cemetery to be able to get in.
Okay.
This one we can use in the parks, out on the roadways, because we can get them all into the roadway of the parks.
Okay, thanks.
Councilwoman Davis.
Yes, this may be kind of a silly question, but why aren't you considering renting for this year, to take care of this, because we already have an order in for what we really want? Wouldn't that be more
It
feasible?
would if it was available.
Oh, it's not.
They don't, a lot of places have got away from renting. You can still rent street sweepers, that's usually on a monthly basis. And the last time we priced it out, it was actually would cost us more to rent over the long term than it was to buy and actually have a brand new weekly. So, but they don't rent leaf vacs like this.
And we're also coming into it with a little bit of equity, right?
Yeah.
It was 100,000.
It's roughly about $100,000 worth of value. They're letting us have it for 65.
And they're gonna trade us or we gotta sell it.
I personally would rather sell it. I think we get more money selling it than trade-ins. Trade-ins are great for some things. Other times it's better just to sell outright.
So the market is there to sell.
Yes.
Can
It is.
I offer this?
We don't have to worry about that.
I've dealt with leaves my entire career. I deal with leaves at home like you can't believe it. There's a time, especially in paving new streets with new curb and gutter, new storm sewer, there might be, you need every weapon in your arsenal to deal with leaves. So before we say, well, we're gonna trade this piece of equipment, we need to take a look at the effectiveness of that equipment. Because as Jason had indicated, the bags just aren't cutting it. We're too dependent on the weather. So again, to do things cost efficient wise, we might need not only what he's recommending tonight, we might have to keep that in our, and still buy this new machine next year. I just want to prepare you for that.
He's absolutely right. We don't know yet. And we're gonna find out this fall what it's gonna be like. I'm confident this machine will be able to get us through this year. The staff has reassured me that tested it and tried it out. And they used it on the demo. And so I'm gonna trust them with that. But Manager Terry is absolutely correct. I mean, we could get into it and then we get the second machine and it's like, wow, we can get weeks done quick and fast, and it saved us time and money with wages, wear and tear, so on, so. But I want to have the options. I don't want to be locked into just one solution and that's it.
Sounds good. Any other questions or comments? City Clerk Domingo.
Councilmember French.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Reed. Yes. Stewart.
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
And Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Thank you, Jason. Future agenda items. Anything council would like to see? Yeah, Mayor Protem.
So a couple of things and they're related. It was mentioned earlier in the meeting today that we need to be thinking about what our priorities are for the next year. Council priorities as we start the budget process. I'm sure David would appreciate having some guidance from us in advance of that budget processing, so he knows what we want to focus on the coming year. So I'd like that to be part of our next meeting. And part of that also is a review / revision of our council rules. So I was part of a committee with Councilwoman Brown and Councilman Brown back in 2016, which was a decade ago. Last time city council rules were revised and reviewed. So I'd like that process to begin as well. So if Jill, if you could make sure in our packets next time those rules are presented, it can be just a discussion. We don't need to approve anything, but just start that discussion as well.
What did that look like? I mean, in terms of rules? Have we, I mean, is this? Yeah, what did it look like?
So there are-
Because I've seen council.
Right, well, they're on the website, so you can review them, but they're basically a 4 or 5 page document with expectations about what council members and how they behave in council meetings, what the expectation of is of their communication with their precincts and
Priorities.
what they can and what they should or should be focusing on as council.
25 pages.
Is it 25? Yeah, well, Garrett was on.
That wasn't a part of our orientation.
Any other agenda items? All right, public comment.
Logan, just a few comments, in light of the red proclamation, you have a drug take back this Saturday at Family Fair from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So it's a good time to turn in medications. They're laying around whose house, I know with a lot of the drug prevention, focus on tobacco, marijuana, alcohol. Reality is a lot of the children's curiosity gets answered in the medicine cabinet and everybody's home. So it's a good time to empty that out for anyone who's medications and turn it in. It happens twice a year in the spring and the fall. Also, Halloween is coming up next Friday. So we're gonna city will recognize the hours 6. It always does it 6 to 8 p.m. Just as a reminder on Friday. There's a lot of events around in town. I posted on Facebook today. And I want to thank y'all for the talk about code enforcement. It is a very complex topic, a lot of variables. So please reach out if you have any questions. For sit down with me or with Ms. Loomis or both of us, please reach out because it is a very complex topic and it deserves the attention that we all are giving it and rethinking it. And want to make sure you get the whole picture here. So appreciate it. Thank you.
Date again of drug take back?
This Saturday. 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Family.
25.
Yeah.
You guys have to fly.
We don't have one. We also do have a red box that's 24 that is always in the city hall. Dr. Byers might have a flyer, generally, but I'm gonna post it again on Facebook just to remind everybody.
Yeah, and if you could just send us the time for the other. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Chief, Sweets on Superior, Sunday.
Sunday as well, from 1 to 3. Right, thank you. So we will be closing downtown. So won't need the other traffic. We're gonna have a lot of trick or treaters there. Also, as I say, on Halloween, so everybody drive carefully. All your children very visible, and make sure everybody's parking on the right side of the street, instead of the south side.
Awesome. Thank you.
Right, thank you.
City manager report?
Yes, we're an organization that employs over 60 people. And we're a $34 million operation. We're working on the budget as we speak. David's doing most of it to his credit. But one of the things, we have grown into a sophisticated business where IT has become an important component, an important tool that we have to use. As such, we've had a company called VC3 who has provided good service to us over the years. However, being good stewards of the taxpayers' money, we are looking at an alternative. And right now we are looking at a provider, an IT provider to help us in that endeavor. As they formulate their proposal, it will be part of the budget, and the administration will bring that forward to you. But I want you to know that over the years, Kip did a wonderful job with IT. Jason does a great job, but we've grown into an area of where we need to do things that are more up to speed. And so that's what the administration is trying to provide, and we will make that presentation at budget. So that's what I have going on. There's a lot of development things going on. I've had a meeting today, and we'll have another meeting on Watson Street development. That is a big development. And we met with another developer last Wednesday, Bruce and I did, looking at potential houses to go in. We looked at several properties, and then we know of a developer on Eaton Street that is looking at putting in another fast food. So that's already being built. Yes. So, but this is a separate one. Oh, excellent. So there's a lot of good economic vitality going on. So
Is there news that we don't know about regarding Washington Gardner?
no, I think that's a waiting game.
Okay.
But I will go ahead and call him and see where he's at with his application.
The deadline was October 1st, if I recall correctly.
For historic
Yeah.
designation.
Yes.
That usually will take 4 to 6 months minimum.
Yeah, and so.
So January, February before we hear anything.
Yeah.
No, and the reason I asked is because in our community, a lot of times news get out that isn't accurate. And someone asks, is this happening or is this not happening? I said, we haven't received any different news since the presentations and the vote.
So one of the things also, and Councilman Stewart we had a meeting today with some residents over trees. That is a sensitive subject. I know that a lot of citizens, and he can do a better job of explaining to council. One of the projects for next year, one of the big ones, and to our staffs, especially Director Kern, credit, we're going to be rebuilding Beamer, Hoagland, Magnata, and Dean. So that will be our big project for next year, starting off. The water tower, as you know, the base is up. They'll be bringing in steel anytime now to start putting in the actual containment vessel for the water. That's 1 million gallons. We approved the spec sheet on the painting. It's gonna look nice. And of course, the mayor and I were involved in a meeting with the state of Michigan, and that went very well. We got preliminary approval for the East Michigan Avenue Industrial Park, so those are good things going on. So our office has been quite busy. So that's all I have there.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, Councilman Fox.
Thank you, Mayor. Manager Terry, would you give us an update on the elevator in City Hall?
No.
Jason,
No.
elevator?
Oh, yep, talk on today. Albion Electric is waiting for another control panel. Should be here within the next week or so. They still have to run more wiring now. They basically had to rewire the entire fire alarm system in City Hall. It kind of led from the panel that controlled the elevator was so old and so bad that they ended up just redoing everything. So I talked with Albion Electric today, also talked with Otis. And so once Albion Electric is done for the next, they said 2 to 3 weeks, they'll have the inspections done on it and hopefully they'll be back up and running. So I would say a minimum of 2 to 3 weeks at least still.
Thank you.
January.
You promised.
I didn't know, I haven't figured about it.
It's just that my city clerk has challenged me on this, and it's not been a good experience. So,
Council member comments.
I would just like to say thank you to Jason and his staff for responding to citizen concerns regarding trees and some of the problems that they are causing around the community. When I drive by and see an X on the tree, I know that he has been there, so, and eventually it's going to come down, so thank you. The only other thing that have a lot of concern about street signs, and I know we talked about that at one time, so.
Yeah, we actually have an order in with 2 different companies. One of them's the Michigan Department of Corrections. So the prisoners, we were able to cut the cost in half. So normally a street sign, a stop sign costs us about $65 to $70 to get refurbished. We can take an old one down and get it redone for $35. And it meets all of MDOT specs. And so we have a huge list. And then all the street signs that are getting redone, they'll all have, you've seen some of them, they'll all have this logo on it and the color. Those are on back order right now. But we're looking at $70 a sign. And I think I can get it for about 40 through the prison. So if that goes through, then I'm gonna cancel that order and go with the prison. So after leaf pickup, our plan is to go through and do 2 to 6 parking and street signs. And of course, stop signs if they're not up and running, but that's the order that we're gonna start going.
Is Allen Place on your list?
What's that?
Is Allen Place on that list? It's missing now.
Allen Place? Did you take it?
No, I did not.
Okay. I'll add it to the list.
It's hanging up in his bedroom. Man cave.
Any other council member comments? Yes.
Just quickly, I'm excited because this coming Saturday, another thing that's going on in Albion is our regional soccer club is hosting a tournament. We're doing a friendly tournament for the other regional clubs in the area. And we're gonna have 30 teams coming in, which equates to about 600 to 700 people coming into Albion, and that makes me very happy. So if you're looking for something to do, come on Saturday to the Marshall Opportunity School, east and west and north, and there will be people everywhere playing soccer.
Football.
Any other council member comments? You have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Meeting adjourned 9:06 p.m. Thank you all.
Bounce.
I have another one next.